Slide around with the mop, yeah. All we know is up the ops, yeah. Been baller cars a lot, yeah. Lambo your parking lot, yeah. Shoot that leggy hop, shoot that leggy hop, shoot that leggy hop.
Where would the game be?
I'm missing the words like a synonym.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at why did Tobi help Itachi slaughter the entire Uchiha clan. And if you guys haven't realized already, this is going to have a lot of Naruto spoilers. So if you haven't got to this part already, please click off this video, watch the complete Naruto series. It's such an amazing series, as everyone in the chat will tell you, or anyone who's ever watched Naruto will tell you.
You've got no friends!
So yeah, and if you haven't already, clicked like and subscribe this video. We're going to be going into a lot of detail this video, and hopefully doing more of these kind of videos soon. So let's start. First, to understand this, we have to understand exactly what happened at the Uchiha clan slaughter. This is officially known as the Night of Tragedy. This is where all of the Uchiha clan members were slaughtered, obviously apart from Sasuke, and the perpetrators were Itachi Uchiha and Tobi, who is, as you know, Obito Uchiha. And this was orchestrated to prevent the Uchiha uprising, as they were planning on conducting a coup d'etat, which eventually would have led to a civil war and ultimately the fourth great shinobi war, as predicted by Danzo. So this whole operation was orchestrated and perpetrated ultimately by Danzo, who ordered Itachi to do this, and Itachi sought out the help of Obito Uchiha to do this.
Hey, we move tonight.
Fine, I shall assist you.
And just for the sake of timescale, let's understand that this happened after the initial Nine-Tail attack on the Leaf. And something I want to clarify about this event, which a lot of people don't understand, is the fact that why were these two Uchihas able to kill all the other Uchihas? As like, weren't the other Uchihas as powerful as Itachi and Obito? Well, the answer is obviously no. We know a lot of famous Uchihas from the whole Naruto series, like Madara, Sasuke, Itachi, Shisui, and Obito, and these guys are so OP. And then we learn that the Sharingan is connected ultimately to the Sage of Six Path and the Rinnegan. So naturally people would think, if all of the Uchihas have Sharingans, why weren't they able to stop them? Well, let's not forget that all of these individuals that we named, they're exceptional Mangekyou Sharingan, they're exceptional users, and all of them have Mangekyou Sharingan. And probably the average Uchiha who hasn't been through war, who hasn't had a hard time, because that's what activates the Sharingan, they probably even don't even have the complete Sharingan, the three little dots thing. They've probably only have like one, and maybe even some haven't awakened the Sharingan at all. So that's why it was fairly easy for two very skilled users of the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan to go ahead and slaughter the rest of them. But obviously this was one of the darkest and most tragic parts of Naruto, the fact that the entire clan got wiped out and almost exterminated, and obviously setting course for the fact of Sasuke to go and take on his revenge. Now, to understand why Obito would actually help Itachi do this, because Obito seems like a bad guy, right? He has this evil plan, but to slaughter his own family, his own intents, I want to share with you guys. So, to understand this, let's understand the fact that Tobi is Obito Uchiha, all the things that come in that. For him to become this sweet little kid who loves just life, wants to be Hokage, was kind of shit to be honest, wanted to be Hokage, didn't really have much skill, but he had heart and he had morals, that was the thing. And he always told Kakashi, you don't abandon your teammates. A person that abandons their teammates is worse than scum in the shinobi world. And of course all these events where he gets crushed by a boulder and such, he gets crushed by a boulder, Rin's death, Minato's death, and then talking to Madara afterwards. And is all in turn required to turn him into Tobi, who is a leader of the, and also fake Madara, who is the leader of the Akatsuki. Now let's talk about the Uchiha curse, which was explained by Tobirama. Ironically enough, one of the person that hated the Uchihas the most throughout the whole series. This guy was like a full-on racist, man. Like every time he would talk about the Uchihas, this guy would bug out. So what did he say about the Uchiha curse when he was revived? What he said basically was that no clan feels as deep as love as the Uchihas. So they themselves are not a clan just who have hate. They develop emotions and affections a lot. which ultimately and means they have these strong bonds. And when these bonds are broken, it actually causes something in the brain, and it results in a mental condition known as a Sharingan. So as the Uchiha suffer more pain from the people they've lost and the lost loves, the Sharingan develops from becoming the Mangekyo and ultimately the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which is kind of a cool theory, and I'm glad that Kishimoto thought about it enough and the mechanics of the powers enough that he put that in, because a lot of animes and a lot of shows won't think actually about the mechanics of their powers and all the superpowers and where they come from. So I'm glad this all made sense and this all ties together. So carrying on from this, we know that Obito, he had formed very close relations with Rin and probably all his other teammates. And then this led to Obito losing his humanity over time due to the Uchiha curse. So the first problem of this was when he lost Rin, when Kakashi killed Rin, and seeing that sight, Lich awakened both of their Mangekyo Sharingans and also formed him to go on a rampage completely. And this is interesting because he ultimately didn't hate Kakashi, his hatred formed of the entire shinobi world, because as we know before, he not only loved Rin, but he had aspirations to become Hokage. That means he wanted love for the whole shinobi world, and when that love was put in jeopardy and Rin realized, oh, we shinobi can't survive like this, we humans keep killing each other and I want to create a world of peace, he lost all his feelings. That Sharingan, that Uchiha curse in his mind, he already formed a basis that he wanted to get rid of this whole process. As you know, they say in Game of Thrones, he wanted to break the wheel, and this was his reasoning and thinking. And then afterwards, eventually, he obviously was influenced by Madara, the old Madara, a lot, and this guy's creepy as fuck, you know, like imagine seeing some old man and he drags him into a cave. It's kind of creepy, I won't lie, but Madara's still sick. And when you see Madara, he influenced Obito to attack Minato in the Nine-Tails attack, the original Nine-Tails attack. And through doing this, he ultimately killed his sensei. Now that's another that's a line he crossed that he can never go back from. So after he killed his sensei, he's lost more of his humanity, and it justifies more of his resolve of what he was thinking of, where he knows he has to do his plan, and he doesn't care about anyone in this world anymore. His ultimate plan is to do the Project Tsuki no Mi, the Eye in the Moon plan, and this ultimately would have made everyone in the whole world follow their own dreams and have anyone who they wanted to there. So it didn't really matter if he killed his sensei or anyone else, because he knew once he completed his plan, his ultimate plan, he could just see them again and get them back. And ultimately, he thought what he was doing for good. So anything he did, he could just self-justify it at the end of the day in his mind. Now, let's look at more of the reasoning, or logical reasoning of why he would actually do it. What were the pros for him? Not why, could he do it? Why would he do it? So, first of all, an Uchiha civil war would complicate his plans by a lot. So, as I was saying before, the majority of Uchiha probably won't be as powerful as the ones you thought and the ones we've already seen. And that means that if there was a civil war and the Uchihas did perform the coup d'etat, a lot of Uchihas would have been killed, a lot of them would have lost love, a lot of them would have felt deeply in love, and more Mangekyo Sharingans would have been unlocked. Now this is a huge mistake in his plan, a huge obstacle in his plan, because then these Mangekyo Sharingan users would have access to Izanagi, Izanami, and ultimately be able to control the Nine-Tails, which was an essential part of his plan. So getting rid of the majority of Uchihas and stopping more Mangekyo Sharingan users from happening saved his plans from needing to save him a lot of complications. And don't forget as well that only the Uchihas knew the truth about Madara and his plans and Project Tsuki no Mi. So if he was going around claiming to be the real Madara, they could actually clock that, okay, this guy isn't who he says he is, and he's probably collecting all his tail beasts to do this Project Tsuki no Mi. So that's a way they got rid of his plans entirely. So that's a pro, and one of the reasons he would want to sort the entire Uchiha. Secondly, you got Itachi as an ally. Now this, when you look at, like I said, Itachi was probably one of the strongest Uchihas ever lived. He joined the Anbu when he was 11 years old and became captain when he was 13. He was so skilled from a young age, one of the skilled shinobi that's ever lived probably. And he knew that after Itachi had slaughtered his entire clan, that he would have nowhere to go and nowhere to run. he would be a hunted ninja throughout the whole shinobi world. Therefore, offering him a place at his organization meant that Itachi would go there and help him gather other tailed beasts. And he knew that with him, his powers, and Pain's powers as well, they could keep Itachi in check and make sure that even though they knew he was a spy, they can still use him to their profit. And ultimately, Itachi is such a badass ally to have. Like, this guy had the Susuke blade and the ultimate shield. I forgot what it was. His Sasano, his Mangekyou Sharingan, Amaterasu. Like, to have that guy in your team, and as you know, he even recruited the others like Deidara. To have him in your team is such a dub, I won't lie. And thirdly, he needed to obtain more spare Sharingans. So after the Uchiha clan slaughter, and when Danzo was going around and surveying, when the Anbu was surveying the corpses, they said that there was a couple missing. So that means Obito probably just kidnapped a lot of these Sharingan users and was using the Sharingans interchangeably. And we know he needed this in the same way probably Danzo used them in his right hand, and he had them to use them for Izanagi. And we know he used them twice. Once when he was fighting against Conan, and that jutsu where Conan blew him up for like more than 8 minutes, he had to come back alive and had to resurrect himself using the Izanagi. And then we also know that when Sasuke's Amaterasu activated, which Itachi had planted in him, he had to use Izanagi again and waste another Sharingan to come back to life. And having spare Sharingans, that many Sharingans, is such a useful plot in his, such a useful part of his, plot and his project, because he can just get not unlimited, but a certain number of extra lives as well. And that's ultimately a good reason, and it's something that even Danzo adopted by taking some more Sharingan corpses and using them for his advantage. So all in all, guys, these are all like very good reasons for him to want to do the Uchiha clan slaughter, and it wasn't something that was thought of on a whim. So if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and comment if you want more videos.
Like